Harvard versus Trump, a $2.5 billion clash over research, power, and accusations of anti-Semitism. In a packed courtroom, the Ivy League giant fights back as the Trump administration pulls federal grants, claiming Harvard fosters anti-Jewish bias. The judge calls the case mind-boggling. Harvard University urged a federal judge on July 21st to order US President Donald Trump's administration to restore about $2.5 billion in cancelled federal grants and cease efforts to cut off research funding to the prestigious Ivy League school. But a lawyer for the Trump administration told the judge the cancelled grants reflect a government priority not to send money to institutions that practice anti-Semitism. BBC reported that Judge Alison Burroughs questioned how denying money allocated for medical research would stop anti-Semitism. At one point, she called the government's claims mind-boggling. However, lawyers for Trump argued that the cuts are deserved and necessary to punish anti-Jewish bias. Michael Velchik, a senior lawyer at the US Justice Department, told the judge she shouldn't be hearing the case in the first place, arguing the matter belonged in the US Court of Federal Claims, which handles monetary disputes. The court hearing before US District Judge Alison Burroughs in Boston lasted more than 2 hours, but ended without a ruling. The case marks a crucial moment in the White House's escalating conflict with Harvard, which has been in the administration's crosshairs after it rejected a list of demands to make changes to its governance, hiring, and admissions practices in April. The closely watched case comes as the White House also moves to prevent the university from accessing a visa system that allows it to enroll foreign students. In the funding battle, Harvard has asked the judge to decide by September 3rd. The deadline the Trump administration has given the university to wind up its financial obligations with regard to federal grants. Any ruling in the case is likely to be appealed and could end up before the US Supreme Court. During the packed courtroom hearing, Harvard lawyer Stephen Lahotsky argued that the administration was trying to control the inner workings of the institution.
The administration has given no consideration to patients, the public at large, and the harm of all this research being cut off. There is no evidence that the cuts, which affect research into everything from medicine to space travel to artificial intelligence, will have any impact on anti-Semitism on campus.
The lawyer for the government, Michael Velchik, said that the university had violated an executive order signed by Trump directed at combating anti-Semitism.
Harvard wants billions of dollars, and that is the only reason we are here. Trump administration was right to cancel the grants because Harvard prioritized campus protesters over cancer research.
His comments were a reference to anti-Israel protests seen at America's oldest university, which also took place on campuses across the US. Judge Burroughs questioned how the government had determined whether Harvard administrators have taken enough steps or haven't to combat anti-Semitism. She noted that government lawyers had provided no documentation, no procedure to suss out their claims. Meanwhile, the Cambridge, Massachusetts-based university says hundreds of research projects, including ones concerning cancer treatments, infectious diseases, and Parkinson's disease, will be in jeopardy unless the judge declares the grant cancellations unlawful. Stephen Lahotsky further said that the government has made wholesale cuts to research under the guise of combating anti-Semitism, but hasn't identified any connection between the two. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump attacked the federal judge presiding over Harvard University's lawsuit against his administration on July 21st in a social media post.
The Harvard case was just tried in Massachusetts before an Obama-appointed judge. She is a total disaster, which I say even before hearing her ruling. She has systematically taken over the various Harvard cases and is an automatic loss for the people of our country. Harvard has $52 billion sitting in the bank, and yet they are anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, and anti-America. Much of this money comes from the USA, all to the detriment of other schools, colleges, and institutions. and we are not going to allow this unfair situation to happen any longer. How did this Trump-hating judge get these cases? When she rules against us, we will immediately appeal and win. Also, the government will stop the practice of giving many billions of dollars to Harvard, much of which had been given without explanation. It is a long-time commitment to fairness in funding education, and the Trump administration will not stop until there is victory. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Notably, Harvard is seeking to restore more than $2 billion in funding from the federal government after the Trump administration launched a review of roughly $9 billion in grants and contracts with the university over accusations that Harvard violated the rights of Jewish students, including during demonstrations against the Israel-Hamas war. U.S. District Judge Alison Burroughs, who was appointed to the federal bench by former President Barack Obama in 2014, heard arguments on the morning of July 21st in the case, the latest in a series of standoffs between the university and the White House. President Trump also said he planned to appeal her decision if the judge rules against his administration. He also attacked Harvard as anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, and anti-American, touting the White House's decision to freeze several billions of dollars in grants to Harvard. Burroughs sided with Harvard last month in a separate lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's attempt to revoke the institution's ability to sponsor international students.